with Martin de León, filmmaker from Argentina. Truco and Perrucco is the short film, which means hair and makeup in English. I gotta say, like, I don't think I've seen obviously thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of short films. I don't think I've seen a short film that was filmed in three continents. So you have Argentina, you have Italy, and then you have at the end, you're in Asia too, right? At the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in Asia. Hi, hello,
Oh,
Martin
you're in
here.
Asia now still. Okay, but you're from Argentina
Um,
originally.
yes, I'm Argentinian and I live in Shanghai. And I think Truco was the creation of people living in three different continents, and that was quite hard to pull out. And honestly, it was a good challenge. And at the end, when we finally are all there in Milan and we're starting to do the shooting, it was really nice. I think we brought some of that energy into the movie at the end.
So, okay, so when did you kind of come up with this idea? Because it's really kind of, I call it like an adventure fashion film. These
Yeah,
two friends from Argentina decide to go to Milan for Fashion Week. So it's an adventure. It's kind of like a coming of age adventure, I guess, using fashion as its allegory.
yeah. I think, to be honest, like it was not the typical idea. Like it wasn't like the, let's say, the standard way to make a short movie, maybe if there is a standard way. But we didn't have the idea, and then we find the people, and then oh, I have this character in mind, I want that person. No, it was more like a group of friends. I knew all of them, but they didn't know each other. So I kind of, for a chance, we were all in Argentina, and so I kind of like gathered them. I kind of like create this meeting for them to like just get to know each other's, and then we said we should definitely do something together. We should film something together. And the idea was first to do it in Argentina while they were there. But like things started getting actually really nice. We came out with this idea, then the script and blah, and everything was like growing nicely. And at the end, it took like 7, 8 months to actually start filming, but it was a much larger project when we finally grab a camera and started like, call it action. Um, so I think it was a group of friends, honestly, and we say like, what's the best thing we have, what are we comfortable with? And what could be also a challenge, So, I used to be a model, so I did a whole bunch of like modeling journeys and travels around the world, and I have that experience in mind. So I said, like, oh, I can put some of this in the show movie. And then I used to live in Milan. Some of my friends live in Milan, and so on. So kind of like the story like start building on our own experience, and that's what we try to showcase in Truco y Parrucco.
So, uh, so there was obviously you and the two actors would had to travel. Who else traveled with you to finish up, do all the filming?
So one of the actresses was in Argentina, so she has to come from Argentina. The DOP, he's Italian, but he lives in Argentina, so he also came from Argentina to Milan. The writer, the other actress, they both live in Milan. The other actor also in Milan. Part of the team came from Barcelona as well. So you have like 3 or 4 people from Barcelona.
So you guys all
A
traveled together?
production, we all traveled to Milan to shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was in Shanghai, so I have to fly from Shanghai to film this. Um, so there is another funny thing that happened in this short movie. When we first start shooting this, when we first start talking about this short movie, I was shooting a short movie with the writer. He came to visit me. I was living in Argentina at the time, and we shoot like a short movie, like we were like, oh, let's do this and that, and we like really quickly we got this production going, and when we shot the movie. During the shooting of that movie, he met an Argentinian girl, and they fall in love, and actually they got married after. And that Argentinian girl is one of the actors of Truco y Parrucco. Um, So like when we actually arrived in Milan to shoot, we had to attend to a marriage, to a wedding of the writer
Oh,
and the actress. Yeah, yeah, that was insane.
so the writer and the the writer like the writer Lorenzo, right?
Lorenzo, that's it. Yeah,
And then the two other actors co-wrote it with him. That's what it says on Film Frame. That they wrote the script with them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, I love the transition shot of them kind of realizing. I'm sure you've been getting accolades for that, where like they're hugging and they're Argentina. They're like to go to Milan, and then you basically transition to Milan, and you are in
Yeah,
Milan.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's funny because we just as we're doing this podcast, there was the Olympics were just in Milan, so all the churches and everything, all the kind of landmarks we saw as an audience, like watching the
Mm.
Olympics, right? So you're really in Milan, right? So
We were really in Milan. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was funny though because like when we decided to go for the more iconic landmarks, right? So we need permission for that. So we start like working on that. So there's this production company from Venice that's working with us. The day of the shoot, the day before of the shooting, they said, like, well, we didn't get the permission, guys. Sorry. They told us from the city that you can't use those landmarks, so you need to go to other landmarks, right?
yeah,
So we said, like, no, no, but like that we want those. Like that's why we're in Milan. No one knows those other landmarks. Like people know those. So we went anyway, right? So we were like, okay, let's do like really like small crew and just like a light camera and let's just try to get the shots. So when we get to the Piazza del Duomo, so like the main one with the
yeah,
church, and we were very scared because it was like, oh, that's not easy to shoot here. And we have the actress and costumes and everything. And lucky enough, there was a production happening in the piazza, exactly in the middle of the square, with like
yeah.
300 people. So we were just a small crew, right? So like no one would say.
Gotcha.
I lost you for a minute.
Yeah, I lost you for a second. So you were talking about like you're shooting in Milan outside the plaza, and there's another crew, another film crew shooting there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So we basically got to Piazza del Duomo, so the main landmark, and and there was a crew going. There was a shooting, like a movie shooting there, like with like 200 extras and cranes and the whole thing. And they're wearing black, like we are wearing black, right? So we basically like blend in and we have like a small camera. It looks like we are doing BTS, it looks like we are like a second unit or whatever. So like
Yeah,
no one say anything to us. So we went for it. We shoot there, we shot in the other, and it was okay, it was no problem. At the end, we spoke with the city and they actually give us the permissions, but on a bit delayed. So it's all good, we didn't do anything illegal or anything, but we just got lucky that yeah, that crew was there and we blend in.
yeah. So okay, so you got the two big. So you guys kind of just like kind of or the aesthetic of Milan, and then you kind of established the
Yeah.
one character, I guess, or like the one Italian character, like she has a crush on, and kind of sets up the plot, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So where did was
Um,
he was he where did you find him? Did you know him before you started shooting? The male actor?
we did actually. Yeah, yeah. I know Mattia for a long time. A long time. Yeah, he's a old friend of mine from Milan. Actually, he's a voiceover actor. He's very good at doing that. He's quite big in Italy. so yeah, when we told him about it, like he was like, yeah, he jumped on board right away. He was like, yeah, I want to do a movie with you guys. Um, on that note, I think a lot of people were like that, and I think that is also what it makes Truco, at least for us, so special, is that every single person that we spoke during the process of creating this movie and trying to, find a solution for the hundreds of problems we face, almost all of them, the first answer was like, sure, let's do it, and that's, I mean, I'm so grateful, in that sense. I'm so grateful. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it's just an artistic project. We have like little money. We didn't have much budget, and people were like really willing to like participate, help, and that's one of the things I love about indie filmmaking.
So I want to ask you about tone of the film because it is kind of comedic and a little bit over the top at moments, right? Where like it's funny, right? Like it's your, but at the same time, it's like there's some drama. Like it's like, but are you leading with comedy? Is that your intention with the film? Is it always intended to be a comedy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We always tend to be a comedy, not a like straightforward comedy, I would
Yeah,
say, more like
yeah,
a, yeah, more sarcastic in a minute. I don't know. I like this idea of the difference between like comedy and horror, and like the music is what it makes a difference, right? So when you have that scene when they like running and we have this music and it's sort of like a persecution and they just running and looking back and looking back. I mean that it could be a cartoon as well, if you think about it.
yeah.
So so we always try to go for that, but at the end, we are exploring friendship, right? And they are like two immigrants as well, even though they're going there for this specific task. But they're immigrants. They're in a country that they don't know the rules, they don't know the language, they don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Um, and everything seems to be a little bit more of a challenge when you are an immigrant, right? And then of course your friendship as well. Like, do you get closer to each other? Do you like how does it affect you? And that's what we were exploring, honestly. And yeah, I think humor is such a big part of our culture in Argentina. Like we've been through so many crises, so if you don't have humor, you don't survive, So it's a bit of our natural reaction to that.
So then, the fashion show, like, where did you shoot the inside of the fashion show?
That was a acting school. Um, yeah, we found this act. That's where we got most of the extras in that acting school. Um, and we basically create the whole thing. We like decided to go for something a little bit not like a typical fashion show because we didn't have the budget to do it. Um, the typical like, big lights everywhere. So we did something more like creative. I think I like the results so far. It looks more like a intimate like fashion show, right? Sort of like those side events that you might have on during the
Yeah.
fashion week. There is such a thing during the fashion week, so maybe some brands choose to do something smaller, something for less people. So we went for that idea, and I think it actually like works. It works. It, I felt a bit like in a fashion show, honestly.
So okay, so then you got like most of it was done. I guess most of it was done. The film was done in Milan, I guess, right?
Sorry, what do you say?
Most of the film was shot in Milan, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. Most of the film was shot in Milan. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So now we're doing this. So we have a treatment, and we had a script for a longer movie,
Oh yeah,
and we're pitching this. Yeah, yeah, we're pitching this, and actually, Truco is doing great. Actually, I'm quite happy about it. I think it's been like 6 months, going around in festivals, and we got somewhere around like 20 prizes. So that's pretty good. I'm really happy about that. We are all very happy, honestly, like such an amazing team. And now we're pitching it for a movie. So hopefully this is gonna be something bigger in the next few years. Hopefully, finger crossed.
are you familiar with the fashion world? Like, do you know the fashion world? Well,
Well, I wouldn't say well though, but I was a model for like 10 years and I did the whole thing. You know, I live in New York, I live in Paris, I live in Milan, I was in Hong Kong, China, Korea, Japan, all those places, fashion shows and fashion life, if you
so I would
want.
say that you're an
Uh,
expert then, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a designer, you know. I
No,
always
but
like
you
did.
understand the world. I guess, like of the show, you understand the ins and outs, like
Mm,
what it takes and
yeah.
the politics and whatever, right? So,
I think I have like a good idea of how it works. Always from that perspective, right? Not from the designer of the brand, but
yeah.
like from the modeling side. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I have some experience.
How was that anyway? So that was being a model.
It was good. It was. I mean, I'm grateful. You know, allow me to travel the world. You know, allow me to meet a lot of amazing people. I learn languages, visit amazing places. I went to great parties. It was great. I mean, I'm a middle class family, you know, like worker. So like I could never imagine doing that when I was growing up. So for
Well, how
me,
did you get
yeah, I'm
into it?
very grateful. Um, it's kind of funny though. I think I was so back in the days when I was very young, my mom is a yoga teacher, so I was doing yoga when I was really young, like 15 years old. I started doing yoga, so I was really into that during that time, and I was doing a meditation course. And after that, a person that was a guy who was there, he said, "Hey man, you're really good looking. You should come to a casting on Wednesday." He's a photographer, right? So I went for the casting, I got the gig, and that was it. That's how it started. Um, yeah,
Pretty cool. Like, yeah, you never expected this is what you'd be doing in your life, I guess.
no, not at all. No, no, no. I wanted to play football, I remember.
And,
It
and
was
then,
the
and then, so how did you get into making movies? Was this your first movie?
This is well, it's the first movie going to festivals, yeah. I shot a few other shorts, but they didn't see they didn't come out yet. They're still in post-production. Um, and now I run a production company in Shanghai, but we do more commercial stuff, fashion, commercial. Now we're working with the car industry, so not related to fiction that much right now. Um, but yeah, it's the first movie that is out and that is winning prizes, so that's why I'm so happy. Like, it's like okay, you know, like indie filmmaking has this thing that you need like validation, right? So like um, I think part of the process of making a movie or a short movie when you're an independent filmmaker is to finish, right? Very important to finish. There's a lot of projects, like maybe like, I don't know, 50% of the projects, they never see the light. So, so finish the project is really important. Having your project out there and having this what's happening right now, I think is
Yeah.
very important. Like feedback and people telling you what they think about your movie. At the end, that's what it makes a project a final piece, right? When the audience can actually like tell you what they feel, what they think, because at the end, that's why we're doing it, right? We want to see what people think about this idea we had and this thing that we like put together, right, with like thousands of pieces. And I'm really curious to know what people think, you know, and then you get this validation from the festivals and I think that's kind of like the end of the circle, you know, and it's okay, cool.
So, but did you call this your second career then?
What's that?
Would you call this your second career, like after modeling?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm actually I started doing this like maybe 10 years ago, but it was very on the side, more like a hobby. And over the time I kind of stopped modeling, so I started like focusing more on this and yeah, like slowly I'm doing the transition. Um Now I'm 100% focused on this. So I have the production company here in Shanghai. I have a partner, a business partner. Um And I still do like creative projects on the side. You know, I want to shoot a movie in Mandarin now. I want to shoot a movie in Shanghai next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what is so
yeah.
you have you made a film since, or are you like planning on making a film soon?
Sorry, I couldn't hear
Are
you.
you making another film? I'm assuming you're making another film now.
Yeah. Now we're doing some commercial stuff, but this year I want to shoot a short movie in Mandarin. So I'm talking to some people here. I have a local producer, and hopefully this year we can start doing that. I love to explore different languages as well, you know. I always like to bring my Argentinian side to it because I think the Argentinian cinema is amazing, and there is a lot to see and to show. Um, so if I can have someone speaking Spanish from Argentina, that would be great. But I do want to explore Mandarin, you know, and the combination, because that's my life, you know, like, and honestly, if I don't put my experience on the films, it doesn't make sense to me. So maybe a film that is spoken in Mandarin and Argentinian and Spanish doesn't really make sense for a lot of people, but it
Oh,
really makes sense for me, you know.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
maybe French, Spanish, and Italy. That would make sense. The Latin language film, but when you throw
Mm.
out like Mandarin, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense,
Yeah,
but it makes sense for this film. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
but
I mean, at the end, you find the links, right? Yeah.
so if you run into a lot of like kind of upstart kind of fashion designers, upstart kind of like young fashion, because it must be a really hard industry to get into.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I, you know, like I think there is always like the A side and the B side in these things, and there is a lot of people that they just, if you're a nobody, they have no interest on talking to you or doing things with you. And there is other people that they see the creative side, and they like to collaborate, especially with this kind of projects, right? We don't, again, we had like very like small budget. So
Yeah,
um most of the time it's like, oh, we pay transportation or we take care of the expenses, but we didn't have a budget for everybody.
yeah,
So it's, you know, like some people just don't have interest when it's, and I respect that, honestly. It's okay, you know. But I don't know, there is always people willing to do creative stuff, you know. And at the end, like if you are like a, let's say a designer that is just starting and you have this film crew that want to use your designs, you know, a professional film crew with actors and locations and lights and everything,
yeah.
you know, what's to lose? You know, just give it a try. Um, and I do like those collaborations. I made a lot of friends through filmmaking, and yeah, I'm always like surprised how people really like jump into these filmmaking adventures, you know, um, out of nowhere.
So what did you learn from this film that you're going to take to your next films? Like, because you're kind of just starting out, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. That's a really good question, though. I think one of the things I liked the most was working with a very efficient AD, and he made my life a lot easier during the shoot. Because even though I was directing this, as I mentioned before, I knew all of most of the people in the crew. They were my friends before the shooting, but they didn't know each other's. Some of them became friends, of course, but I had like this like emotional responsibility, you know, with like a bunch of people. So having a very responsible, very efficient AD, it was, oh, it was life-saving. You know, like ADs, in my opinion, one of the main roles is to really create this like um barrier between like the crew and the director, right? There is certain aspects of the responsibilities that the director has that the AD can do and they should do, you know. So most of the time you don't call action, the AD call action, right? Um, and it was my first time working with someone who was so responsible. So Juancito, if you see in this, thank you. Um, he really killed it. And honestly, I think I'm gonna pay a lot more attention to my next project, to who do I pick to be my AD,
Yeah.
because it's such important role. Yeah.
Just to organize things, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, about scheduling and talking to the crew. You know, it was a very tough shooting though. We were shooting in the street at -2 once with very little clothes for the actresses, running. That was not easy. And talking in a nice way to people under such a tremendous stress situations is very important. I think I have a lot of stress control naturally. That's why I can do what I do. Uh, and it's important to have people that can do the same, you know, because you don't want like more stress over the stress you already having, you know.
So the my favorite scene of the film, and it
Oh,
sound corny to you, but is when she like kicks her friend out, the boys there, and he like feeds her spaghetti. Because it's like I'm Italian, so it's like it's sort of like it's like I don't even know how to compare it to, but it's like that's what is that what I guess that's what how Italians court their girls is they feed them spaghetti.
um, so like we went like for I love that though. I really like that scene too. I think we were having a lot of fun that day. Um,
Because like I said, that's what I was talking to you about tone, where like it works. It's so silly, but it works for your film.
Yeah, yeah. I think like most of so like the actors are like they are like they have a much longer and larger career than I do. So, you know, like they were like, so are you sure about this? You know, because it was a bit too much, you know, it was like some overacting, some like corny, but that was the idea of the tone, you know, because the idea was to like create this like um contrast, right? Because at the same time, you have this guy like feeding her pasta in this like place, and everything is and then you have the other girl who's like going through a emotional breakdown, right? Um, so like I was trying to really push it, you know, like it just feed her pasta, you know, let's see how it works. And I loved that though. I mean, I think it was kind of funny. And then you have the girl like with the classical music in the back. So like all those layers, I thought like it really worked to communicate that contrast, and you know, in that moment, it's kind of like the climax. What's gonna be, you know?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fun. It was fun to shoot.
and then you
And
should.
probably you're right. Probably you're right. That's probably how Italians do with girls, though. They
Yeah,
probably will cook
I
some
don't think
pasta
so,
for them.
but I liked it anyways. But I think they're more aggressive. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. My friends will cook pasta for girls for sure. Yeah.
And
Some of
no,
my
but
friends will
I'm
do
saying feeding them like here you go, here's
it.
my spaghetti
Yeah, that's a bit. That's a bit much. That's a bit
yeah,
much.
yeah. No, it's good. It's like it's the foreplay, right, of the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe for Italians, that's how you get the first base. I don't know if you heard the term getting the first base. Maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, from baseball, right?
Yeah, but it's like yeah, you get like a kissing the girl's first base. Maybe for Italians, it's feeding
Yeah.
the pasta as first base. So
Maybe. Maybe. I will say they first gonna give them like a cappuccino or something like this.
yeah, get them all wired up. Yeah. So you did the post production in where you live? Is that where you did? You took the film and then kind of edited it all together where you live?
Oh no, this time luckily we had someone to do it for us. I usually edit my own projects, but um no, no, I'm very happy also like from this project. I also learned that I always want to have a post-production team, you know.
Yeah.
It makes things a lot easier. Yeah.
So
And you
was
get a
everybody
different
scattered around the
perspective.
world then? Like everybody was in
Yeah,
different places?
yeah, yeah. So I actually I went back to Shanghai right after the shooting, and I stayed there for a few months. I stay here actually for a few months. And then I think like a couple months after, when we had the first couple cats, I flew back to Argentina, and I went to the editing room for the final touches with the editor. And it was amazing, you know, because it was just 1 day or 2 days, full days in the editing room, and it was almost done, but we just moved a couple things around, and boom, that was it, you know. And I was, you have to like, would you have a proper editor that comes from movies and blah, so they bring ideas, you know, and they're like, oh, this works, why? And if you feel that it doesn't work, then you have to question, you kind of face the fact that it's like, oh, it doesn't work because I just feel it doesn't work, or why it doesn't work, you know. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to answer that question to yourself in order to answer to these people, to this editor, why it doesn't work. And that was very interesting process for me, because usually it's me with myself and maybe like someone else, like, and then that's it. I'm in front of the computer, I'm editing, I'm doing what I feel, and you kind of lose track sometimes, you know. So having someone who's telling you this works, don't change it. It was really useful. Yeah.
Good. All right. So
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
you're gonna make it. You want to make this into a feature, I guess. And trying to get some funding, and you're on your way as a filmmaker. Getting some awards now, getting some recognition on festival circuits all over the world. Yeah, you're on your way.
That's it. We're trying to go on that direction. Yes, yes. Hopefully, I feel 2026 is going to be a good year.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
pretty crazy so far. So yeah. All
Yeah.
right, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All
Uh,
right, so so congratulations on the success of this film, and let's talk again when you make your next film.
Sounds good, man. Hey, thank you very much for putting the time on this. I really appreciate that you're doing this. It's we need more of this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, talk to you soon.
All right.